You don't have good light. You want to sit under one of the light?
Hey guys, how are you? How are you? Crypto land. Are you feeling love or are you feeling pain? Yes, it's the crypto sniper. I always like to get a nice piece of art for you to admire behind me here. I have this sense of being an artiste. Hey, Handy, how are you? Hello to you. Saturday night, and the folks are all tidied up in their beds when the action's going down. Joel, Floyd, Dominic, how are you? Taking shorts and loving it. George, hey, dude. Yeah, man. Hey, how are you? Nick, Jay, how are you guys? Good to be with you. As I was saying, I get a nice piece of art for you to enjoy in the background here. I don't have the fairest complexion after all, but isn't it just dandy in crypto land? If you're on the short side, that is. Otherwise, if you lack method, you are feeling pain. Let's have a little swing by the charts. Can I get a screen share in here? Whoopa, whoopa, whoopa. I'm not sure it will. So here's the news. While back, a while back, I said we had large geometry for a 3K number. A 3K number. Tonight we pushed ourselves into the 3K number. So on the Bitfinex exchange, Bitfinex, I now have a 3944. Believe it or not, gents and ladies, I do believe that there will be further downside for everyone to enjoy. Can you, Bernard, my number 2 here, can you share the live link for SC as well? So that's they on the Sniper Circle. Yeah. So we're on the threes. We're on the threes right now. We've just dipped through the 4K, and it's soft, lads. If you're long, you're dying. If you're short, you're smiling. It's kind of what we wanted. If you're a shorter, I think we need to go through this process, guys. 3.6 on Kraken. Yes, I'm short on Kraken as well. Thanks for that update. I haven't had a chance to have a look at the Kraken chart. 3.750 on Bitstamp says critical. Yeah, thanks for that. V Speaks, how are you? And thank you for your kind comments, please. It's noted, and you're a gentleman, and I appreciate your conduct, mate. John, one of the best analysts in the world. That's overly generous. I love a little bit of love. Too much love and people get giddy. You got to keep it balanced. I appreciate that we've been accurate in this instance, but we will be wrong, and we will consistently be wrong, but occasionally we will also be accurate. We want to be on the right side overall of the market generally on the big time frames. Money, how are you? 3960 on Binance. Mr. Valentin, thank you for that. Drone Cruiser, been following you for months. You've been spot on all along. We've been broadly accurate. We don't walk on water, not yet anyway. I live by the seaside though. That's you improve your chances of walking on water if you get close to the water. This is the key thing I like to mention. If you want to walk on water, you've got to get close to where you can practice. And this is what we try to do. we try. Hey, Audrey, ciao to you, buddy. So get close to the water. Keep arriving at the scene of the crime. Every now and then you shoot the main witness instead of the suspect, and you get it wholly wrong. And when we're wrong, we're 180 degrees wrong. So we're not going to go into gloat fest here. That's not the game. But it's nice, and it's a key mark point, because the threes which we called for have happened. You got to remember that we did that at 10s. We did it even at 12s, and that was a long way away. 3,000 sounded pretty flipping dumb thing to say back then. And then this whole wear you out. If you guys take anything from what's happened, got properly worn out with boredom. That is the nature of war. That's what we call the whole concept of market sniperdom. It's when that's really boring. 99% boredom and then 1% sheer mayhem. And when you get a really tight squeeze, you then get a very, very big move in your favor. Juggado on, he's talking rockets, mooning rockets. I think those are the downside ones, the direct energy weapons that they pounding on us from up top there, rather than the upward swinging ones. Rich says he only sees support at 2.7. Hey, hello guys, says F this. Thank you. Hello to you. So Yeah, it is a nasty re-rating. My EOS friends that behaved a little bit badly, I'm afraid. So I haven't forgotten them, you see. We all have personalities and a little bit of emotionality. And when people say a little bit untimely things, we tend to remind them. I'm afraid they will see it too, I suspect, on their EOS markets. In fact, let's just have a quick checkup on EOS. We're at 3.3 on the EOS side, and it is looking downward biased. Most of the cryptos will. You won't get a surprise by that. In fact, on the shorter time frames on my sniper circle, guys, we were warning about Lumen actually being an overperformer to the downside, which is one we actually were hoping when we eventually bottom could be strong against Bitcoin and potentially even against the dollar. So, in full disclosure, fairness, this one's rolling over with the rest of the market and actually had inverteds. We were sharing and discussing this high quality ones in our sniper circle. And that's certainly happened. And Ripple, actually, we predicted a little bit of underperformance from Ripple now, and you will see that it's also suffering. It's also suffering in the turn down, despite having shown relative strength. So this is the key thing. The asset category, you have to look at these things as an asset category. If you have the boss market, and we are teaching inside the sniper circle, and I'll give this one away for you for free. We talk about where's your boss market. Understand where the boss market is. If it's crypto, it's BTC. In the long run, even though we got relative strength, a little bit out of Lumen and Ripple, if the main God market keeps contracting and there's deep shit in little China, what tends to happen is everyone gets dragged down by it. Jay says alts will outperform BTC going into New Year. As part of this bear, we could get, just on his point, Jay's point, as part of this bear, we could also get a kind of reweighting. I wouldn't necessarily say a wholesale flippening, but a kind of reweighting of emphasis in who's a shiny pony and who's a little bit tarnished by the whole event. And Bitcoin looks like it's not going to come out the superstar here. There might be other coins, and I've mentioned a few, that post the bottoming, when we eventually bottom, and it will happen, and we do want to make money on the long side again, but then we make money with all the other folk. That doesn't take always raw talent, but when we go and it won't be immediately full-blown bull either. It'll be a frustrating bull. It'll be the bull that gives you a little bit and then takes away a little bit and gives you a little bit and takes away. You don't just go back to the mooning process. So this is just for a guide for you for cycle. Horim, great to see you. Our internet has been down, our power has been down, and I've almost been airplay silent for 48 hours. So we decided to come to the hotel and just capture this moment. The Wolf of Wall Street asked, when does everyone go buying again? Hello, good to see you as well. Welcome. I've asked Bernard to share the link for the premium guys as well, just so that we can have a bit of fun. So there's no specific trade ideas that are going to come out of here, just general chat about principles, and also the key aspect that this is a lot of, this is a very seminal moment for BTC and for, unfortunately, for the shorters, and we were in a minority, so we will claim a little bit of credit by being in a minority. I think only Tony Bays. I don't know anybody else with any profile. I mean, unfortunately, Mike Novogratz and Chicken Tikka Tiwari Masala they're keeping a super low profile right now. I tend to also go quiet if the truth be told, if I get something wrong and I reassess, and it's not to have too much fun at somebody else's expense. But I think in some of the manner that the latter guy, the Palm Beach guys, go about their business, I've got some copy there that says just 3 trades, you're $75 to 3.2 million, and I'm going, come on, man, come on, don't set benchmarks like that. 4 people watching, 18 likes. Wow, you people suck. Says 3 subscribers without any videos. Francis, AK Professional XAV. Yes, Horim says Masale loves that. The Wolf of Wall Street, too many flaws and missed deadlines. What's that? Is that us? Maybe. I don't know. Biggest wealth transfer happening today. Yeah, I think, you see, this is the thing with .com boom. I want to talk to you about EOS because I was in June in New York. And here were these guys I was sitting next to with an asset manager guy, Jian Wu, the big multi-billionaire Bitcoin miner, and we were having drinks thrown at us. And to be honest, I wasn't anything special. I was just an attendee who got, VIP ticket, whatever. And it was absolutely smelt of dot-com boom. We were sitting on this New York club outdoor area. It was spirits, not beers, spirits for free. You triple Jack Daniels, whatever, just about girls on stilts and the dancing girls with glitter faces all around the place. It was extravaganza. I thought I'd strolled into an Illuminati party, sort of eyes wide shut scene in the middle of Manhattan on top of this high rise. And I just thought, really, is this what you've done with the money you've raised? You're buying me drinks on this scale. Is there an accountant in charge here? Or is this just PR marketing and showing what big deals you guys are, and you're just putting the credit card out there? Because actually, when you're running a business and you've raised money from lots of people, the most important thing I would do as an investor is not want to see 10 bar of the money you've just raised go on a single party night where you have nothing but a bunch of memories and hangovers in the guys that attended. But sometimes people think, that's prudent. I'm more of an outputs guy, and it reminded me of dot-com boom mania. The media, the marketing guys were making tall Tom. Raising money was piss easy. And there was, and I said, this is going to follow the boom and bust cycle. And at that point, Ethereum was charging like a wounded buffalo through the charts, going from $20 to $40 to $100 to $200 in the time of a 5-day event. I think the thing might have 4x'd, and by the time it was properly done, it might have gone from the better part of $20 all the way through to $400-500. Stefano, nice to see you. Stephen Forbes, Barbara, Bitcoin. Anyway. Yeah, the weekends are being shaken out, says Quantum Healing. Quantum Healing, nice name. We need to get rid of the weekends and the greedy peeps. We all are potentially weekends if we buy wrong. The game is to avoid being a weekend, and that means not buying the pump. So here's a bit of advice for my free views here. Don't chase volatility. Anytime the market is volatile, don't be buying in. Never buy on a pump. Never buy on a pump. And never short sell on a dump. For those of you that are seeing this and going, oh my God, this is free money short here. Well, I can tell you that on one of my draws, we've just made a fractal target, and it's possible now we've slightly overperformed. It's possible we can rally. So my equity on this trade keeps varying. It generally is growing the longer I stick to it, but it has periods where there's little rally moments and it gets drawn down a bit, and then it sets up new windups, and then we push for the downside. I've actually got further downside. It's actually, while we're speaking, it's gone a little lower, 3889. I have to say, the target I gave, and I did declare it for free view, but my premium guys got it early. They know where their orders were set, is on Bitfinex was 3744. And it does look like it's even possible tonight. We are at 3885 on Bitcoin. Let me just pull up. I know some of you on Kraken, my US guys, you have issues. Sorry, there's a wedding, a Greek wedding. I daren't call it my big fat Greek wedding in case I offend the bride. But there's some kids here and folks just chilling out nearby, and we're on the hotel Wi-Fi. So if there's a bit of background blowback, you know where that is. So I've got a 3711 already on Kraken on the downside, and it's throwing it. It is puking. This is a proper projectile vomit. The single candle. The other interesting thing about all of this is that we get proper vomits on the weekend. The guys do a good old ambush, and it sells off like a monster. So 3724. Bitcoin Gold responds to empty blocks attack threat. Forks are part of crypto politics. Yeah. So let's talk about forks. So the whole concept of crypto was that there was actually reduced or limited supply. limited supply. So we have a fiat money system, guys. We have a fiat money system where the bankers control how much they expand the money. If we go into a full reset here, markets are looking peaky, property is turning. We started to push on the Australian property recently, about 3-4 months ago, and now the stats are starting to drop. The game is to get a globally synchronized rollover where everyone is indebted and everything falls off. What they'll then do is proliferate currency across all mediums. So the dollar doesn't fail. They all fail together. So relatively, your dollar pound can still stay at 1.3, for example, if that's where it is now. But there could be twice as many pounds in circulation and twice as many dollars. People stop spending. I don't know if you saw my reset sniper on don't go blow your credit card on Black Friday. The key thing is there is trouble a-brewing. There is trouble a-brewing, and the biggest skill you can have is being a short trader right now. You don't become a complete full trader until you learn how to go short, and this is the season for the shorters. We have had an overtime expansion of debt, and when we go into real contraction, a lot of these asset classes are gonna wet the bed, and some of them are going to outright crap the bed. So forks are crypto's version of quantitative easing. The notion that we have real limited in Bitcoin, if you start to get lots of versions of Bitcoin with minor differences and changes, Bitcoin Cash SV, Bitcoin Cash ABC, Litecoin, which is kind of a Bitcoin with a few changes. Now, I know there's some technical differences, but they all apples from the same tree. You're actually getting proliferation. And whatever happens, I'm getting 3 subscribers without any. Hit the like button, guys, if you're enjoying this, please. I'm so crap at the marketing bit, man. You know, I don't ask you guys to do this. If you feel the love and you want to share it, do it. I don't like to bully people to do anything. I'm a Generation X, you know, shut up, don't sell to me, fuck off. If you're enjoying it, you'll do it anyway. But, you know, if you feel that way, please do. So fork is like a quantitative easing expansion. So actually, they have the crypto Bitcoin you bought when only Bitcoin existed, and there was only a technical limit of, 17 million? Is it 17 or 21 million? And there was only 17 million out there, and many were in hard wallets being held. You were dealing in short supply of a limited thing that could expand in price. Suddenly, you get an expansion in shitcoins, altcoin majors, altcoin miners, and out shitcoins, trash. And suddenly you start to have a whole bigger zone ready to absorb fiat. And then you start to get forks inside your respect-worthy coins, and you get expansionism. And all that means is there's more places for that money to chase into. And the minute that happens is you get all the guys selling shovels. You know, when there's a gold mining run, you get new guys open up shops selling shovels. And eventually there's too many guys selling shovels for guys who want to dig gold. And the price for shovels drops. You know, eventually you can get your Levi jeans and your shovels and your pans for dirt cheap. And actually there's not much more gold being found. And what ends up happening is the shovel and miner tool set shops start going bang because not enough people are making coin anymore. That's what happens when you get one of these markets, and it's kind of a boom and bust cycle. This said, crypto hasn't gone away. Paul Barrett, great info. Thanks. Pleasure, Paul. Appreciate your gratitude, mate, and your courtesy. You're a gentleman. Samantha Johnson, can't see it or stream, I will. Samantha, thank you for your support. Great to have the ladies on board as well. Stephen Forbes, yes, big one. So Crypto Panic, Neo at $7. So that was another one of the calls we did warn of. Neo at one point, I remember trading it when it was ANS. Don't know if you guys remember that. Put your hand up nice and high. I remember ANS. We had an amazing upside HVF setup. We killed it on that coin on the upside with method on the upside. And now we're killing it on the downside. People were shocked when I said, this thing is going to get at minimum to target, and it can overperform further to the downside. It's going to get a 66.67%, 2/3 haircut. It was at $36 at the time. In fairness, when it broke, it was around 34, the triggering event, 35, 34s. You divide that by 3, you need a target of 11. That was our geometric target that we got out of it, and it's traded 7. There's your overperformance on that. So if you had shorted, just to put this in context, there is some real gems that you might have made money on. If you had shorted, let's just say 25 grand worth of NEO, whether it was with margin or whether you had the 25 grand and you sold it at 36. If you buy it back now at 6, you've made 5/6 of whatever you shorted. Okay, so it had 36, you buy it back at 6, you've made $30 per unit of that. If you sell $30,000 of it, or $36,000, you'll buy it back for $6,000. You will make $30,000. So I mean, that was a good call. But you've also got to remember, this was all calls around the overall crypto market. So don't give me too much credit for each individual coin. The key is recognizing the asset class was going down and just rinse and repeating where we had good structure, where it might occur in all the individual alts. So we'd even done IOTA, NEO, EOS, and others, and I could have done a lot more, but it becomes futile. Choose your best patterns and stay with it, and of course choose liquidity. It's important to get liquidity. It isn't always about outright return. If you're a reasonably sized account, you need to be able to get in and out and feel comfortable, and that's where Bitcoin was good. Leo, capitulation at 3.6, I guess. Yes, I think that's where he is. NEO is a great buy, says Hermes. Hermes, I would hold. Wait till your bottoms are properly in. You have a sustained period of bottoming. It's never going to be a V-shaped bottom and just start pumping again. If it were me, and I'm not a financial advisor, and I don't want to take responsibility for your financial affairs, and you may have good fundamental information about the coin, and it may be about to do a whole bunch of awesome things, but the asset category is in a contraction phase right now, and it doesn't matter how awesome they are. You know, there was a lot of shit coins that it didn't matter how shit they were, they just pumped. All the shit pumped. You know, you've got to recognize that even when coins are doing good things and laying great foundations and starting to catch up with all the hype that was forward sold, they can be selling off during that period, because it's like everybody woke up. Price matters. So just choose your moment carefully. If it's down to me, I would be careful. Ukraine jar, we need a crypto Federal Reserve. No. Sorry, I'm going to have to disagree with you. I love your comments and I appreciate you for commenting, but I'm going to say absolutely not. And one of the worst things that happens is you can't be babies and cry like little bitches when the market doesn't do and love you anymore. You know, you can't say, hey, I made loads of money, but now I've stopped making money. Where's the government? Come in and regulate this. This is a ripoff. We've been shammed. The exchanges are trading against us. There's bots that are stealing our money. There's this and this and this. And you start crybaying and you start doing what I call toe tagging, externalizing why you aren't making money. I am making money right now. Bernard, sitting next to me, is up and making money right now. Say hi, Bern. Top dog, and he's saying hi to the community there. Does great webinars, is a well-trained HVF trader. I'm delighted to have him on the team. He's making money right now because we're applying method and we're on the right side of the market, not geniuses. Fuck the geniuses and the gurus and all of that. Not a guru, not a genius, will be wrong, all that usual stuff. But the key thing is understanding the right market and having a genuinely powerful method. Hey, Bernard, says Phil. Phil, good to see you. Did you get home, Phil? Phil was with us actually in this very hotel, not this particular spot, doing a second accelerator visit on our program. And he was trading the first spill of Bitcoin. he had to get all the way back to the south side of states, and it was great, absolutely great, having him and connecting him. What a stand-up guy, and made a massive contribution to the community, and is continuing to do so. So great to see you, Phil. I hope you got home soon, because last time his plane was delayed by 10 hours. He was going via London, all that stuff. Reading The Creature from Jekyll Island, a great read, Mr. A. Lag. I've met the writer, Mr. Griffin, a stand-up guy. He's properly got the script. I've visited Jekyll Island. If you look at my YouTube history, I've actually gone to Jekyll Island where they created it. I've stood in the room where the Federal Reserve was created. I know I've walked where the Satanists have walked. I'm going to get all David Icke with you. I'm going to be on the stage with David Icke in Acapulco, by the way. It's quite interesting. He's going to be out there. So you'll get used to your lizard talk. But actually, in fairness on him, there's certain things that I think he's been accurate on. But he's eccentric. But some of the maddest people have some of the best ideas. Bitcoin SV is 20 blocks. Missing some of the text word because the browser stretches 20 blocks. There's something going on, and of what an ABC, what is going on? Zeta, GNU. I am not the master of the tech and what blocks are working and what aren't. I'm going to let the rest of the guys on chat play nice and give Zeta an answer if you're a bit of a techno genius and you know what's going on Bitcoin Cash Forks blocks. If any of you want to feed into her, she'll appreciate it. Brexit coin, 666 Fed bottom. I recognize Sankt Gaulis. He's got some interesting comments both on Reset, and he keeps it in a crypto framing. And he's applying some numerology yeah, so we'll see him. So by the way, so we will be in Acapulco. It sounds like ages away because it's February 2019, and I just slapped my face and wiped the crap out of my eye sockets, and I realized I better start working on my presentation. Essentially, we're December 2018, and it'll be in about probably not much more than about 8 weeks time, and there's a fair old flight. So roll Hubin, going for 1% short trade, stop loss at 1% or more, question mark. So here's my thing, roll, whatever you do, it's not percentage based. Your loss management must be unitized. So if you have a 10 grand account, use a percentage to say, okay, if I never lose more than 2.5%, I never lose more than $250 in a trade. But targets and stop losses should be technically placed. In other words, the price behavior has shown you where it wasn't able to get above before or below before, depending on whether you're short or long. This is one of the great gifts of HVF method. We look at where the footprints in the sand couldn't cross, and we place our stops and our key levels for our trades in that. The market doesn't care what your 1% is. But it does know which levels it has been unable to deal with. So go look for the fences that it can't hurdle in the sand. That's my best honest opinion for you. Who will mine BTC now? It's a good question. So Jens has come in with a real gem of a question there. Jens, well done. Who's going to mine? The miners are going to start to get washed out, and this is going to be a real problem. The other aspect I'll add to Jens's question, so rather than answering it, because the truth is when I don't know the answer, I'm not going to answer you. The additional question is, how decentralized will it remain as this cost washout is occurring? I fear that a few elite positioned people with real benefit. So this is how the Rockefellers took the oil. They controlled the transport first. They did a deal with the Rothschilds. They got a super low transport to market. They crashed the price of oil. They continued to function just about profitably. They flooded the market. They dropped the price. They squeezed everyone out. And then they bought out the rivals and the small rats and mice players for pounds and the pennies until they owned the industry, and then they let it float back up again. So creating volatility in a market is how the control structure shake out retail rats and mice. And that's me, you, Bernard, that's us. And if you don't see the game and you don't have method to do it, you get to be shaken out. It's a standard playbook, time immemorial. Rockefeller, Rothschild shakeouts. They create volatility in the market. This is what's happening in property markets. People get shaken out of their homes. First, they make it super good, cheap money. Everybody gets balls deep in. You've put your hand so deep in that cookie jar that they end up biting your whole arm off before you can get it out. And then you're near to bleeding death. And then they own all the property. And they say, oh, look, markets crashed. Government needs to come in and bail out banks and their hedge fund friends that are part and parcel of government corporatocracy end up owning all the properties, and you end up a tenant in your own home you once owned. And that's the game. And how do you first do it? You switch on the greed bug and you pump it through the roof, because then everybody leverages and chases the new thing, and the hype train goes into overdrive. And anything that pumps too strongly to the upside too soon, too much too soon, always that overreacts to the upside, has a natural geometry, will overreact to the downside. That's why I said this bear is not over, and that's why I continue to assert the bear is not over. And if we run 3744, I will close part of the position, and I will probably look to open additional shorts in the rally, because there's the possibility of new setups occurring, which will give us new targets. So while the call was for a 3 number, there's a difference between that is a target level, 3744, and it's a bottom. A bottom means we're done. There is no further downside. We're going to base out and go up. A target is that's the next key level whereby we will churn for a while. This, I was known for calling the Euro Swiss franc floor fail not once, but twice. Once at 1.5, and then when they had a declared peg at 1.2. This fall from the $6,200 level is behaving like a peg fail. That means there was major buy support at one level that no longer could gobble it up anymore, and they really had to pack their sandwiches up, get on their bike, and get out of Dodge. They weren't going to hold this party up anymore. And that's real expensive, just like the Swiss National Bank buying crappy euros and giving up a really solid currency to do it. It starts to hurt. So let's check your comments again. Who is this? Probably something that says, who is this bald-headed moron yabbering on about cryptos? Wow, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing, says Swift. Wow, Francis, your followers on here have tripled from the live broadcast. That's great. Rothschilds and Rockefeller, the biggest cancer in humanity. I kind of agree with you, Drone Cruiser. Zeta, GNU, Bitcoin will go up. We must, it'll just be longer time. It will come back to a degree. Just beware that, Gina, that there might be different relative strengths after this. So you'll see us. It's very subtle. This is technical analysis, and this is another benefit of method. You get to compare after a major crash who died a little bit more and who, in a very difficult circumstances, actually, whilst dying somewhat, didn't die as much. And that'll give you the next clue as to who's going to outperform on the next upswing. And that is something I'll just leave with you to watch. Phil, 3744 has been hit on Coinbase. Yeah, so the target I gave, I think, was for Bitfinex. There was, interestingly enough, one other exchange that had a perfectly similar one, but Bitfinex was higher on Bitcoin. It was a lot higher. It still had a bit of the tether premium and the exchange risk premium baked in it. Wall Street buys it up cheap, sells us regulated paper Bitcoin at much higher prices, says Sankt Gulis. That's part of the plan and part of the thing. Milos Kosik, Milos, welcome. Nice Eastern European name. Where are you based at the moment, Milos? Drop it down there. Let me just see. The chats are coming up so quick. It's rolling before I'm finishing reading it. Sammy Pope, gold or property? What do you recommend? So here's the thing. Just while our Greeks are going to start smashing plates in the background, no doubt soon. Here's the thing. When we go into reset, which I think has a possibility, a small possibility may in fact be occurring right now, with the markets correcting, everything deflates and it's fear first. Remember the concept, problem, your reaction, their pre-planned solution. So I'm going to say that again. They create the problem. They get what they know will be your subsequent emotion-driven reaction, and then they deliver their pre-packed, already ready, baked in the oven ready, baked ready to go solution. But they first do a bit of drama. Oh, we're meeting, spending 24 hours locked up in a room. You know, we're not leaving. We're working so hard in the name of fixing this horrible events and bringing you, you know, and then government rides to the rescue. There's going to be some pain for you. You know, we're going to tell it you how it is, but then at the same time, never again will this happen because we're going to be instituting. That's the sell for the pre-baked solution. So the problem is create a pump and then a dumb scheme. Everyone cries like bitches and babies and says, bring government in to help us, which you shouldn't be doing. It's part and parcel of humanity. What's that one, Bernard?
No, that's just
That's the coin market cap. Looks a little bit slow on the reaction. I'm just seeing like a red line. It's almost like it's such a deep red line. It's gone down his keyboard, and I'm seeing blood dripping off the end of the table here onto the floor. Bernard, have you got a blood nose or something? Anyway, so problem, reaction, solution. And so what the stage that they need is the all fear, everybody angry, fix this. So during that period, everything goes down. There is no say. It's the deflationary force. Nobody spends. They lock up the banks. You can't draw more than €100, £100, $100 out of your ATM. What cash you haven't got out, you haven't got. Certain banks might get bail-ins beyond certain amounts. They've now synchronized this globally. You've got to remember, America kind of had a pretty isolated depression. Yes, it was a tough time for Europe for a short bit as well during that period. But China, Africa, India, they weren't even related. Now, the cost of globalization is synchronization of economic cycle. Let me say that again. The cost of globalization, we've all heard the benefits. Most of the benefits have been hoovered up by the corporates, not passed on to you. Go watch my Black Friday clip again. I won't rehash it. But the cost of globalization is synchronized economic cycle globally. And that means they boom everybody and they pull the same tricks, and all this cartel, think of a special ring, Lord of the Rings, throughout all of them. The Chinese top dogs go to school in Switzerland and learn English. You think you have a government that's actually counter the control structure, and you realize they're all part of the same. There's some Democrat now who's going to bring in the States, looking to bring in the social scoring of China. You know, you're a good citizen. No. You want to be the bad school kid in the class when that shit comes in. You want to be the guy with naught. And it'll be tough. But you know what? You want to be self-reliant and have your own stuff. I was with Bernard and we're having a lovely mushroom pasta dish with red wine and talking about the plot of land and the basement with all the long-term food deep frozen and the off-grid living. And that is an important thing for you guys to work on. So the thing is, to answer that whole question, I've gone on a long rambling narrative here. Gold will fall. Property will fall. Why? Because property is financially levered and gold is going to be controlled, and most people will rush to cash. Whenever you have an environment where people are becoming forced sellers, the same guy that has crypto also has some equities, may have, not all of you have equities or mutual funds, but if your job is slowing down, your commission check is cut, there's no Christmas bonus, certain of your colleagues are being laid off, they're looking at you a little bit weird in the morning and checking what time you're coming in and all of that, and talking about performance and hitting your numbers, and it's time to tighten the belt and all of this la-di-la-di-la. Guess what? You sell stuff and you want ammo. You want close nearby ammo. You're feeling the crawl tightening. You know, the enemy is all around, and that's not time for splashing out on Black Friday on plastic goods and crap. So all things go down initially. The question I think was being asked, apart from gold and that, when do you buy? So it kind of gets like stepping stones. You want to, this is a tough time. You've got to expect everything to first go south. And I mean absolutely everything, no safe havens. There will be some things that will be relatively stronger, but generally everything to go south. And then you've got to buy the bargains in the right areas for their solution, which is coming. And that was the time we called gold to make $1,000 and actually go to 1,300, a new all-time high, where I was called an absolute loon on the trade to win boards. It's never been anything, some die-hard bull, and we went to 1,900, and I was shocked. And it was massive overperformance. And I got out at 1,300 only to watch another $600 roll up. And what actually happened is we had a mania. And it had huge overperformance. It was and that's when I developed, first set up in a new trends doctrine for our HVF method that would have seen us get more of that $600, not all of it. But when you get extreme overperformance to the upside, it is the forewarning of future extreme underperformance. Now transfer that gold market to that silver market and what we're getting now. Greatest story ever told. Great YouTube video, by the way. Watch that. Santa come blood red this Christmas. Yes, I think we're going to have a real tough Christmas, and let's force it on them. Don't be the guy trying to hold up the economy. You can't do it. You won't be able to do it. Have ammo in the hard period. Don't be the guy that expends his last 3 bullets just before the charge of the light brigade comes on your house and your family. And that's where I see it. Yeah, greatest story never told. Go watch those YouTubes. You're going to get a real education in there. Gold, like Bitcoin, in the problem period, most definitely. That doesn't mean always, and that doesn't mean for property always, but you need to wait till there's real blood in the street. Bernard has shown me a chart and he's telling me we're at 3648. Which exchange are we looking at there, Bern? That was actually a BitMEX. That's a derived market, by the way, guys. It's not the real coin, but I know some of you might be using it. Just be careful because you won't always understand it. Be careful with the leverage. 3685 on Kraken. What was our draw target on the Kraken for the 36 dead? So we were within $85 of the Kraken target. I might have to do a quick redraw on that to make sure I nail that one. We probably must be getting quite close to the bits for next because I've got my main position there. We're 3848, 3847 bit for next. And we're looking for another $100 basically. 3744, $100 from here, and we're going at this rate. I mean, this is a proper peeing off the roof, man peas off the roof pattern, which I call convexity with acceleration. Remember though, within this, when you get an extremity move in afterwards, in the same way, you often get that rebound and pushback move that goes with it. So Marco is enjoying that. Milo Caustic, please. I just see the please. Remind us of the question, Marco. The comments are moving real quick. 3.669 United States dollars, says Monica. Welcome, Monica. Nice to have the ladies in there. Omar Major, best analogies ever. Yes, I like to throw a few analogies. We've got to try entertain. Follow Mike Maloney, the Dollar Vigilante also, guys. I like Mike. I'll say this about Mike. I think he's a stand-up and honest guy. He's got a lot of integrity to him. He's done an amazing series on the history of money. I wouldn't even bother going to YouTube and try to do a history of money type video. He's killed it. He's absolutely killed it. And he owns that space, and fair play to him. If people are trying to understand it on new and want to understand how money is created and the hypothetication of all things, I just, rather than explain it to themselves, I say, that's where you go. What I will say is, remember, he makes his living by, we all have a small interest. I do education and training, a full disclosure, for people that want to learn method, because I believe it makes a better difference to how you trade. And not only do I assess that, I implement it and do it myself. So I feel aligned by everything I say on that, but that's my agenda or disclosure. Other than that, I don't sell gold. I don't sell property. I don't do anything. I'm not for or against crypto. I want to be a long when it's up, and I want to be a short when it's down. So I have very few vested interests apart from the fact that I really value helping people make a difference in their trading lives. And some of them have made very kind comments saying that even free on YouTube, they've made good decisions on that. But once again, we aren't always right. Mike sells gold and silver, so he's never seen a bad moment not to buy. And that's the problem with the gold and silver guys at the moment. Peter Schiff, the same. Peter Schiff was right about the property market. Great YouTubes. You can follow him, cocky but assertive and smart. But he doesn't see the value in crypto, and I think he's mistaken. But he sees it as a threat to his gold and silver business. I do assess that gold and silver were the key elements. Bern, how about you get us a sparkling bottle of water here? I'm drying up like a two-strap. The red wine is too good. We had an ouzo as well. Going back to that, so probably because crypto was an alternative for reset assets holding to gold, he saw it as a rival. So he's been particularly cynical. I fear that I don't fear. I'm reasonably confident that cryptos are not going away in some form or another, and we'll see them. Which is the winner, I don't know. Here's a bit of thinking that if you can take a couple of clues from me that might help you, and I just apply what I call the Hunt logic wall. I throw a logic wall at something and I ask one question and go, which way does it go? Think of it as that ball that you drop in the little game, which has lots of needles, and it hits a needle and it bounces to one side. Then it hits another needle and it bounces to one side. I keep asking the question and saying, is it left or right? And I said, I suggest you develop this as your kind of assessing certain things and be forward looking. If it is a cartel, listen to what Lagarde's saying. Some of the guys are here. Echo, IMF likes crypto. XRP appears to be a banker coin. Does it mean if it becomes highly proliferated and very heavily used and the banks all start using it, because it's essentially a government-controlled one, which allows for their surveillance and monitoring. So remember, I talk about smart. Every time you hear the word smart, it doesn't mean you're smart. It means they get to be smart about you. Surveillance, monitoring, annuitization upon you. Many of the things you buy once and you own, you're going to end up renting forever. They're thinking of introducing this on internet, payment by usage. And then they'll suddenly have Uber moments where, we higher usage right now, you need to pay more. Kind of like your petrol, kind of like your flights. If you want to fly home for Christmas, you're paying 3 times more because you chose the wrong day. Sorry, you got kids, or sorry, you got family, It's a 3x right now for the week before, and this is how everything you do, you get that annuitized punishment. I call it rental extracting, usury extracting, and be careful of the word smart when in there. Be careful of the IMF. The IMF and the UN are Rockefeller, Carnegie-based constructs, Rockefeller-approved, Rothschild-approved constructs, and they're not welcome. People shouldn't call for them to be in. And slowly I'm seeing more commentary out of the likes of the UN people, central bankers saying, yes, Mark Carney, that twat, that tried to destroy the pound on Brexit. Thank you so much, big boy. And they were trying to, open that for me, please. And they're trying to get Carney to destroy the currency. Well, he's now saying, yes, cryptos need regulation. All these guys, they want to come in there and care for you. They're here to protect you. They're here to protect you. I enjoy the days of the big old Wild West, when you had your own homestead and you protected yourself, and you communitized with a few other decent people, and you built a little town, and together you looked after yourself, and you did whatever the hell you like. I don't like government forces that decide they're there to protect you. You see, the cost of that, the actual cost of that protection is actually they embed themselves like a giant parasite in the underbelly of your belly, and they suck blood, and they poison, and they intoxicate, and they extract, and they try and manage. They give you a brain virus which sees you become entirely subservient to them and utterly reliant on them. So yeah, should I buy Ripples, says Shabbata. If you're asking me now, I don't think you should be buying any crypto right this second. If you're asking me medium term generally, what's my assessment? I've got setups that see Ripple overperform to Bitcoin, not against dollar. So everything's falling out of the bed at fiat. Why? The crypto space is contracting. So this is a game of expansion and contracting for an entire asset category. So you have to be a global. If you want to be able to do a little bit more of what I'm hopefully teaching of value, and hopefully it's of value for yourself, the key concept is. I have open shorts at the time. Yes, Spot Robot. Is think like a global macro hedge fund manager. Pretend you have a pot that can be in any currency, in any asset, property, commercial, residential, equities, Bitcoin in the ether or the blockchain, all of these spaces. When you get a downdraft in a particular industry, don't be in that industry or be short that industry. So defensive is short, is out, and offensive is attack position is short. And if you're accurate, you get paid for seeing it contract. So we got defensive quite early. We were possibly a bit late on getting aggressive, offensive on the cryptos, but we've done very well. We made up for some lost time. So be a global macro hedge fund manager and then see where are things going up. And at the moment, most things are overvalued and need to go down. They've inflated every bubble they could. And that's why this is why I call it, this is the time for the shorters. You almost can short any market initially, but in the longer run, when things base out, I have a suspicion, and this is a suspicion. We haven't got a technical setup against the dollar, but when the crypto contraction is over, my suspicion is that Ripple will have shown relative strength in the downturn and will be one of those that will be very strong in the next upturn. Big Smoke wants to put in an order. There's no Big Macs around here, buddy. Only the primest. I had a burger here. It's a king burger. I tell you what, it's a beast and proper tasty. Not of Big Mac standing, but we're on the waters now. Yeah, Francis, do you have any current mid long-term investments? Yes, I do. So I do still have some physical bullion. I do still I have short positions in cryptos. I have short positions in equities. I have very few longs. I have a currency trade, and I'm cash. I'm in a lot of cash. Cash gives you confidence. Cash gives you confidence, and dispersed cash. So have cash notes on you, have dispersed cash across geographic regions in many different bank accounts. Avoid being within above the key level. I think it's £80,000 in the UK, the FIDIC, probably $100,000 or 150 in the States by bank. I think it's, what's it in euros?
Sent that letter about 6 months ago.
Yeah, they probably won't even stand by that. If they need to give everyone a super haircut, they're going to trick you. They're going to shock you and say, sorry, guys, FIDIC did cover you for that, but we're going to need half your money for a while. You can have it back in 5 years. In the meantime, we're going to give you shares in toxic shit bank, which you can trade, and we'll crash those shares to new lows so that you'd sell them for a penny. And then later, when we sell the bank, once it's fixed on your taxpayers' money and it goes for a massive song, you will have lost out big time because you didn't hodl the toxic bank shares. So, they have ways to pass the pain on to you. Equities seem to be sketchy these days, and holding long just smart at this time. As they say in Texas, don't be pissing on my boots and tell me it's raining. Yeah, problem, reaction, solution. That is an interesting analogy and is probably quite accurate. Ukraine jar. God damn, I love your videos. Echo, thank you very much. You're a gent. Thank you. Yeah, we'll keep them coming. Francis, you remind me of the great stock market analyst, Bob Beckman, when you talk about the markets. Thank you. I'm not familiar with Bob. He sounds a good man. And that's very complimentary, and I appreciate you. Just joined. How will I react? Overall market cap still nearly X2 before start of bull run last year. So one of the best ways when you're saying how far can this go, first thing is I can't answer that, and the most honest thing is always to be honest about what you do have a strong feeling for and what you don't. And I'm not interested in feelings. I'm interested in real method, because I can feel when things are plunging. It's very easy to feel super bearish. Then they start catching a bit of a bid, and then it doesn't look as bearish. Tell me if where's is that Ripple? So Ripple's trading 0.37. That's been very strongly supported in the 40s and 45s. So it's, but against Bitcoin, it is actually up. It's at 972. So this is the relative strength we were talking about, Ripple, and that's why Hugh Leon, Francis, you saved my life in 20. I can't see what year it was, Hugh, but I'm delighted. I'll save your life any year, mate, whatever it was. I'm glad you took action, and I'd argue that you saved your own life by listening and actually thinking and applying. Who me? Is everything on sale now? I think everything will be on sale soon. Don't buy now. Wait for the fire sale. So in terms of Humi's question, the big sale is coming. Keep your powder dry. If you've ever really need something, and I'd say this is a time to make purchases in assets that help you serve others and that will deliver income. It's not a time for conspicuous consumption, but hey, like say you really wanted a motorbike, you'll buy them near new for 30% less, in my opinion, in the Q1, quite possibly. And this is the value. I went to Ukraine when you pre-Ukraine being flipped, as was a psyops, as you're probably mostly aware. And one of the things that occurred there when they did this whole banker freeze, and there was the discussion about Russia providing their energy, and now that they were no longer Russia friendly and they were going Euro friendly, they went into their banks, closed the banks, and you couldn't draw more than $100 a day. You couldn't get in the banks. You couldn't empty your account. People that had brand new Porsche Cayennes that were 5,000 miles on the clock were selling them for 30% of list price of what they paid. That was when everybody then rushed to get into cash. That's what happens when things get dodgy, and that's a microcosm of what of issues, and that's when crypto could be useful. Zimbabwe, the same. Crypto was trading at BTC was trading at 12,500 when Bitcoin was about 3,000 generally. But you couldn't arbit easily because you needed to have a Zimbabwean passport and a Zimbabwean exchange. But if you were Zimbabwean and had a Zimbabwean exchange, you could have sold BTC for $12,500 and bought it for 3,000 and kept rinsing and repeating that cycle. It did get arbed out in the end, but that was, the key critical problem. Blessed Bob Mugabe. Billion USD being printed every month doesn't raise a red flag for you. It does indeed. The printing of money does indeed. Generally, it's currency destruction and it's inflation creating. Sexale Classy, thanks for your answer. Crypto compilation. So good. You're helping each other. I can't get to every single comment. They're coming fast. Listen to him carefully. Buy when the blood is in the street. Yes, says Milos, and you're right. Captain Obvious, buy the dip. Yeah. So I wouldn't be in buying mode. You see the problem with us. So here's the thing everybody needs to understand. You have a bull bias. I can say that with confidence because I had a bull bias and I probably still have to a degree, although I'm maybe managing it a bit better than I used to. And you need to conquer that because it's within you. In other words, the question is always, when do I buy? Actually, the game is selling right now. The game is selling for cash. The game is accumulating ammo and selling everything that is non-necessary. Overinflated. Hi, Dina. Anything that's overinflated as an asset class, you should be dumping and not just getting yourself out of it, seeing if there's a way you can short it so that you make profits and that you can make some real tom. So yeah, there will be a sale. Yeah, sorry guys, the comments for some reason the scaling, I lose the last third. Let me just see if I can pull this browser out so that
Try and maximize.
where do I do that?
operate?
No, I just had it on maximize, and that was still doing it. So I do lose the three thread. I sometimes tilt my screen 90 degrees and ask left or right. That's how he deals with his bull bias. The traditional way for dealing with bull bias is turn the chart upside down and say, do you still feel bullish? You should feel like buying it one way and selling it the other way, and you should feel equally strong about wanting to sell it short the one way as you do buying it. If you're like indifferent one way and you're big bull on the other way, it's showing that you're too strong in the buy camp. And this is a great psychological exercise because we taught we make money by buying. Actually, go watch the video. Bernard shared it with us. Maybe he'll smash it in the link. I'd already seen it, but you passed it by me, and it was being shared in our sniper circle where we do a lot of things. The interview with Stanley Druckenmiller. It's free. He's made all his best 50% returns and more in particular years in selling short. And that's when you're really a proper trader. Real Vision Channel. The Dent Clinic, paintless dent repair. Francis, should I pay off my mortgage, hoard the cash? Because what will happen potentially, the Dent Clinic is asking, do I pay off my mortgage? It's quite a good question. If you have debt, first of all, clear all the high cost debt first. If you have the lowest cost debt is usually that which is on your property. And what tends to happen is when you get a bit of a deflationary period, they'll drop the interest rates again. Now, that'll make your mortgage kind of cheap. I actually was in this position because I had an immense amount of investment properties when they jumped, they did 2008. And I actually sat in a situation where I was getting incredible income from the rentals versus the mortgage payments. Because I'd locked in deals when the rates were around 4 or 5%. And then we even had discounts to that, and then they to the standard banking rate, and then they dropped the standard banking rate by 3 or 4%. So we were paying about 1 or 2%. It was ridiculous, and we were yielding, between 6, 7, and even in some cases closing on 10%. So make sure you retire costly debt first. Keep cash, because even if you retired your entire mortgage but didn't have any cash, you won't have any opportunity to buy, and the bankers won't give you access to that cheap money again. So make sure you have some hot money that's readily accessible as well. And during the deflationary period, you're probably not going to get squeezed out of your home, because the first thing they're going to do is they're going to pump more cash and cut interest rates again. Now, America hasn't managed too many rate rises, and I don't think the UK has done. Have they done one? They've done one at they're at whatever, 0.75. So there's not too much more downside margin, but they certainly won't be going up. So your mortgage won't get any more expensive. So I think mortgages are the last place you need worry. Get rid of those expensive HP car finance, own your car outright. Rather get a 5-year-old decent machine than have to have an 18-month, renewal car cycle where you're always on HP. Hey, your dog, yeah, bag ass. Mike Channel, buy Bitcoin now, he says. Mike, I'm not sure I entirely agree, but to a degree, there's a spill right now, and it could get a little bit of a snapback. I'm seeing a little bit of a push pump, but we haven't seen our 3744. We're $100 shy. We could get a rally. We need to sit through another setup. It doesn't happen tonight. It comes 3 nights, 4 nights away after quite an extensive rally. The truth is be told, I can't tell you the journey path that it's going to be there, but I'm going to be short until 3744. If it doesn't come and it starts heading all the way back, I have a stop loss, but it's got plenty of breathing room and it's deep in the money. So it'll be a bit unlucky, but it can happen. Pig Dog, buy or sell what, Pablo? I'm not entirely sure. Weekly, you don't chase in. So the point for those that have just joined in, don't chase in right now. I'm afraid you're spilling and you could get a snapback rally. This is price behavior. You get a spill and then you can get a snapback rally. It can be highly impulsive. I'm not looking at the charts. I don't know, but it often happens. And then after it's rallied for a while, you get shaken out and you think, damn, all the entries you do on a whim, impulsively, you exit with low conviction early. Every entry you put in that you planned extensively and been watching for a while and have stuck to a real process, you adhere to a far higher level. It's kind of always the rule of life. The more you put in, the more committed you are to what you get out. You know, my premium guys, we're going to have an amazing I've got an amazing hour set up for them for wealth building, with a great guest. One of the analogies he gives on wealth building was when he was with a neighbor where there was a young girl who was playing and learning tennis, and they actually had a tennis court there for her. So this is in the States. And she was about 16 and he was about 19. And she called him around to play tennis with her. And he'd go around there and beat her. You know, he's 19, he's a man, and he would beat her. But he noticed that she wasn't concerned with the points or whether she won the point or not. She was consistently trying to play the stroke like she was being taught, you know, playing through the ball, eyes, head, position, everything. She was following a process of how to hit the ball right. He was making sure he just won by hook or crook in any means. He continued to go around there, and after a while, he stopped winning near as much, till eventually he went round and he didn't win at all. He was getting his ass wiped by a female 3 years his junior. But she was executing textbook strikes, textbook serves, textbook backhands and forehands, and she was going forward, onwards and upwards, and he was just, get it over, stay in the point. And that's the difference. And that's the difference. So focus on process. The more you committed to a process against short-term gains, you harvest the long-term gains. It's like buying that land, planting that crop. You got 10 years of waiting while they're just trees, before you start getting fruit. But then every year, we're sitting where I'm sitting, there's citrus fruit falling off trees in the streets. So beautiful. Oranges, tangerines, everything. They're going to waste. There's so much of it in people's houses, but you get an abundance of wealth later. Postpone immediate gratification, abundance later. Yeah. It's often like this. So just apply that. BCC is the real Bitcoin, says Spot Robot. Maybe Roger Ver will approve, especially if you say ABC. Moby and Ahmed, Brexit, how will it affect the economy? So Brexit globally is newsfare. It's newsfare. The global economy will fail because it's over indebted, not because of Brexit. Everyone go, oh, but because the British voted and it triggered all that and it triggered. There's always a triggering event. Supposedly France Ferdinand, was it? The Serbian leader that was killed before World War One. Archduke Ferdinand by a Serbian was the triggering point for a war. That's rubbish. They were going to fight. They wanted to fight. They were preparing for fight. They were choosing their sides. It was the discussions, the letters of King George released since show that he said, find a reason, to the one head of state that said the lights will go out over Europe for a long time. It was a classic phrase in the 1910s. He was saying, but we have no reason to go to war with Germany. And King George said, find one. Find one. Find a reason to slaughter mass amounts of humanity, both in our country and in theirs, so that we can dominate them. We want the control and the power. We need them to be an owned entity. Find one. So the whatever gets ascribed as the reason for Bitcoin's failure is not going to be the reason. This is what I call toe tagging. It's like there's a dead body lying in the street, and it's awkward. It's a problem. Who is it? Has his, next of kin been notified? The minute he's on a slab in a morgue with John Doe on his toe, it's like, yeah, his name's John Doe. The family been contacted, or he was a vagrant and no one cared, and he was drunk and he died in the cold. And there's the explanation. You got the narrative now. It's no longer a mystery. People forget about it. It's done. It's toe tagging. Yeah, that's why. You just need a reason. And so it's Brexit that will sink the whole global economy. No, it's not. No, it's not. China's hopelessly indebted. We've been getting hopelessly indebted all over. We've had a huge re-expansion post 2008. And the reason all of this will happen is because it's meant to happen. You can run up and down the cliff edge many, many times. And then eventually one day I can be walking there and you sort of bump my shoulder and you fall over. It won't be me that murdered you. You know, you were pursuing a dangerous activity that were putting you on the cliff's edge every single day for many, many hours until one day you slipped or you bumped and you ended up over. And it wasn't that rock on that day or that slippery blade of grass that did it. It was the position, the precarious situation of inevitability you put yourself in repeatedly until the moment came. And that's my take on that. HVF method changed my life. Thank you for that. I'm glad for you. For real 93. Crypto bits, 44% down. Wow, that went quick. All the comments just rolled. Do I support Trump? I don't participate in the binary red versus blue political situation. The people who run the world, I'm happier at a sort of superficial level. I'm happier that Hillary didn't get in. But you've got to realize that Trump was backed by the Rockefellers. That's why his casino wasn't closed. Chase Manhattan Bank just kept letting him spend and live like a billionaire, and now they want their money back. And who was chairman of Chase Manhattan Bank at the time? David Rockefeller, recently deceased after getting his seventh heart. All these kind donors that showed up. We have less information thereupon, but yeah. So they're all puppets that are owned, in my take. Ripple looks sick on the macro. They all will look sick on the macro because we're seeing a big contraction, Michael. And you're right. You're not incorrect. The thing is relative strength assessment now. We're talking about when they no longer look sick as an asset class, who was less sick in the downturn. That's a relative strength, and that requires you to do analysis across crypto pairs, leaving fiat out. So the whole cryptos looked awesome, and every crypto was great in the bull run, including shitcoins and ICOs, many of which are now 96, 98, 99% or bust or de-rigged. I mean, someone was asking, what about the miners on Bitcoin? What about these ICOs that actually require mining? Who the hell is mining? Give me a name of a shitcoin that requires mining. I can't even think of one. Yeah, I mean, who's mining these things that are plummeting 80, 90%? I mean, why would you bother? Have you written a book, Francis, to study your technical and analysis methods? No way I can make your teaching seminars. A book is required. Psycoin, yeah, VSpeaks. How's Psycoin doing, VSpeaks? Give us a percentage. I'll watch for your comments. Verge, yeah, there's a whole bunch. I mean, we traded Verge to the long side and we did great. But I mean, do you think BTC is a scam? Do I think it's a scam? Now, you see, the problem with the word scam is it's becoming overused. I mean, I've been called a scam. Everyone can be called a scam. Anyone who's in business is a scam. For me, if someone, this is my understanding of the word scam, the intent from the outset is to do damage to others for benefit of self. So in terms of that, I most certainly do not believe I personally am a scam. I am really interested in the outcomes and improving other people's lives and their course towards wealth building, and believe method in trading and understanding where we are in the economic cycle helps that. That doesn't mean I'm a clairvoyant. Is Bitcoin a scam? I suspect that it's... I don't buy the Satoshi Nakamoto story. I call that Santa Claus fairy tales for adults. Everyone wants to believe there was this guy and he did all of this good for humanity, never wanted any of the money, disappeared into the ether because he wanted to remain secret. And that's all you need to know. And I'm like, yeah, human nature, nah, it's not a pass for me. And then I read the NSA had a document in 1996, which just spoke of a world money system that very much emulates Bitcoin. The coding is virtually perfect. It's a huge project of work that would have taken immense effort and immense testing and and you do all of that for nothing and just saying, here's my bequest to the world. And if I were choosing somebody, I wouldn't choose a Western name because they can always be tracked in the West, and many of the people, the Europeans and Westerns, are going to be big holders of it. I would choose someone Far Eastern who may speak a language non-English, for example, or he speaks English, but his home language might be Japanese, for example. And not a lot of smart people in Japan. It's like quite a plausible. It's just I smell a rat with that. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't be engaged with it. It doesn't mean it's a scam. It doesn't mean it doesn't work. It doesn't mean I've transferred Bitcoin. You've transferred Bitcoin. We've transferred other coins. I can send Bitcoin to Bernard. He can send Bitcoin to me. It works. So that means it does what it says on the tin. Although the whole autonomous or the quietness or what's the word, anonymity is not strong. I don't believe that's strong. The whole ledger is lifetime. It's a record forever, so now you can face tax queries of 25 years standing in the future. If you got this money way back then, and you should have penalties compounded over 30 years. I think that was an income, and you didn't declare it. Who knows what they can come back at us for once they have ledgers that have records forever. So I think it does what it says it does. You transfer money. I don't think it's anonymous. I don't think you'll have protection on that front. And I think it's probably a new world currency, part of an eventual new world currency, cryptos generally. I don't want to say that specifically to Bitcoin. Here's the mistakes people make. There's only one internet company. Imagine how stupid that sounds. So why will there be one winner coin? Some store of value, some regular exchanges, some low cost for this, some this, different brands. They like you to think that you have choice. How do you keep a slave a slave? You let him, you set up an environment where he thinks he's free. He comes and goes. He can check out any time he likes, but he can never leave. That's how you do. So he's walking, he's doing whatever. So with coins, you have choice. You'll have this store of value coin, this coin, that coin. There isn't one internet company that done one thing. But in terms of how they've organized the corporatocracy, Amazon, Google, they are all part of a magic circle corporatocracy. Facebook, managing mindset and media, playing experiments on you. Actually, they are all one. They're just different faces of Henry Kissinger. The Atlanta group, all of them deplatformed Alex Jones. I was interviewed by Alex Jones last time I was in Acapulco, and they all deplatformed him simultaneously, including Pinterest and some other social medias. How does that all happen? How do separate organizations all come to the same decision at the exact same time? They had a meeting at the Atlantic Group, for which is chaired by Henry Kissinger. Says, we don't want people getting easy access to this kind of information. So that's my take. That's what the logic wall says. China just copies everything, the biggest cheats of the world. Well, you can't always say that. I think that's a popular narrative. Good, Brian. 300 likes. Come on, people, smash the like button. Is that this YouTube bot? I think there's a YouTube bot that's doing cheerleading for me. It's so cool to have someone on your team that you don't even know who he is. He's like, come on, you guys, come on, you can do it. Give him some more likes. It's like, yeah, okay. I keep wanting to call him out, and then I go, yeah, that's the bot, fucker. It's so funny. YouTube bots on my team, guys. Thanks. They really like you to go live, it seems. When Lambo, yes, I think a lot of people want to know that one. WTF is XLM. XLM, so here's the suspicious part and some awkward facts about XLM. Only 13% of the bloody coin has been released. They're sitting on 87. You know what? That's a heck of a pre-mine. I don't like that. That smells of drip feeding and releasing this thing. Pump the value, drip feeding and releasing the thing. Yeah, he's a good bot. XRP to 4x against BTC is our view. Darren Fain says, yeah, I think around 3x to 4, depending. Milos, when you got in. Lambo in 2 months. The shorters might be Lamboing out. XRP target, we think 32s will be run, where it's currently 9s, 10s, just sub 10s. So there's a four zeros. So, you've got to count your Satoshis there. Go look at the chart. When buy? Not now. The question is, when can we sell next till trend end? We always want to pick a bottom. Man, this could go to $100. I'm not saying it is. It's not a prediction. I'm just saying it could go to $100 or sub $100. Do you know how much money you still could have to make? Maybe the question is, when can I next get short? You see, the thing is, we train people to not think reversal, trade continuation. Trade continuation. I think there's a brawl out there. Hey guys, I got to go. I need to watch a fight. There's a wager to be made here. Either that or it's friendly. It's turned friendly. It's all the Uzo. Yeah, you see, that's what's happening. It sounded like a domestic of some note. 34 likes. Oh, that's my bot friend again. BTC value holding for ETH. Should I buy now? So doc sum. For all the people asking buy now, the answer is the same. For me, no. You're trying to catch a falling knife. Simple answer, no. The question is, when can I next short to trade continuation? Because this may not be over and it could go on longer than most people realize. That's it. And you will get it wrong eventually on the last turn. And you know what? Even when it bottoms, it generally doesn't V bottom, go like this. It churns and it limps. So you actually get a chance to get out quite a lot of times. Well, it does this and it has to form a double bottom or a triple bottom, and it tries 3 or 4 times. When it's tried 3 or 4 times and failed, when the news is absolutely bearish and it stops going down, that's when it's about to go up. I haven't seen nothing but positive news on crypto, and it's spilling like a bitch. It's like, oh, this institution's getting involved. This institution's starting a new science house where they're going to do X, Y, and Z. What do you say, Bernard? All that positive news, when you look at that, it's just like so-and-so's doing this. And it's falling. It's falling. Sell on price action and good news to the downside. Buy on bearish news. So many people cleaned out. Miners all gone bust. All this when they're just talking like this. No one making any money anymore. Lots of devs leaving the industry. Miners aren't in around anymore. Proof of work looks like it's failed. Oh my God. And Bitcoin stops going down. It looks like the whole party's fallen apart and Bitcoin stops going down. And you start to get double and triple bottoms. That's your bottom. Backed. Oh, don't get me started. Keep those flipping hypothecating monsters out. Yes. Thoughts on wax? I don't have any. I keep it strictly in the bedroom. Behave. I don't know enough about it. Sorry. A serious answer. Stay strong and hodl. Not a believer in that, I'm afraid. Is there any way to learn your method? I can't afford your program. Follow the free YouTubes: Reset Sniper, Crypto Sniper, Market Sniper. Any thoughts on ETH after the bottom? Show me the ETH chart, Bernard. Let's have a look. I mean, I don't expect it to be much different to what's going on in the rest of the cryptos. And it was hyper pumped in a much shorter time. So Ethereum's trading 111. We had inverteds in that. I could have done some YouTubes on the downside patterns we had for that one. I think it's made just about all our targets on the small time frame ones. I think we had a bigger one go up to the 4 hourly there for us. I think we might have had on the 4 hourly. So I'll come back to you on Ethereum. Yeah, squeeze that one in. We need that low one. We had a low at 169, which we had called, which was pretty accurate. And then it rallied after that. Yeah, squeeze it. I'm just waiting for a decent chart on that one. Should we invest in the future? Potentially, XRP may overperform once the crypto contraction is over. Do not do it now. That's my take. Francis is a dissident conspiracy theorem. I like him even more now. Yes, I am that, I think. I'm not sure it's the tag I would give me. Can't believe all the XRP dog shit. Well, unfortunately, we don't want to see it win. We're not moralists about this. I'm just telling you what the charts are showing. It's got more of a bid under it than Bitcoin has. That's the fact. If you want to make a bit of money, you might end up supporting the control structure. We don't want them to win. I don't want them to win. I don't want Lumen or XRP to win. But nobody cares what I want. Nobody cares what I want. I can only tell you what I see. And I'll tell you what I see, whether we like that news or not. If BTC is low, Coinbase. So Big Smoke, good question. So he's actually saying, if BTC is low, will Coinbase go bankrupt? You have a counterparty risk, guys, on exchanges if the whole crypto market sells off too low. So being ridiculous, not saying it's going to happen, but were Bitcoin to go to $100, how do the exchanges function and make money? And if you've got like substantial sums in exchanges, let's say you made money and you short and you were smart, you managed it all the way and down, 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 and you're shorting and you're the only richest guy in the room. Guess what? Everyone goes bust and you lose your money. So you can do everything right and still lose. So you need to take off and you need to pop you need to keep loading up your into fiat and putting it into the other assets like gold, silver, cash, and expect them to go down in deflation. Cash will be king for a while in deflation. Then you got to move it. It's like the stepping stones. You got to hot foot it because the stepping stones are hot and you bare feet, and you got to shuffle between it. So you be long cash, deflation, problem, reaction. You be long the cash because it'll be worth a lot. Everyone will be selling all the stuff you need dirt cheap because no one's buying. You pick up anything you need for business uses, some assets. Then you can buy property after the last, when you hear that auctions are occurring and no one is showing up, buying should be taking place. Initially, when the auctions occur, there's a lot of people. I've been there. Then people stop showing up and things have to move and banks are going bust. That's when the real deals, you've got to have audacity. You've got to show up and bid 10% of what people want you to bid. Then you get deals. So do you have counterparty risk if you don't take money out of the crypto environment? I will kill myself when is not the bottom again. Remco, never kill yourself. It's never that bad. It's only money. You've got a long life ahead of you. You can win, and this is all experience. It depends what you do with that experience. You can get wiser. There'll be many more cycles like this in many different asset classes. This is a rinse and repeat game. The key thing is learning and understanding the rules of the game so that next time you're smarter, and next time, instead of being a pawn that's sacrificed, you are the queen. Ooh. Maybe I should have said king. I don't know. But yeah, one of them big pieces. That'll do. It makes it to the end of the game and has 64 squares to choose from where to live. Thoughts on snake oil price? Down. It's going to deflate as well. We've had to kill myself. Ripple. Charlie Lee said about Litecoin has got a setup for downside for us, a very nice little one, as with Lumen. And I had a number. I wanted to actually add Litecoin as one of my shorts. Actually, you've got to be careful. So here's a lesson for you: don't every setup on every coin short because you're just increasing your exposure. The game is crypto's contracting. They're entirely correlated ideas. If you add a Litecoin short to your Bitcoin and EOS short, you've actually just increased your correlation. You've affected your money management by increasing your correlation. It's the same as you just put that same amount of money that you've added on the Litecoin short onto your BTC and your EOS because they're all correlated. They all fall down together. This is a macro cyclical. This is not an individual. People think about individual tokens. There could be the most awesome token in the world right now. It would be selling off because it's a contraction and people are withdrawing money from it. And it was an overhype pump and we got too ahead of our valuations and we're having a revaluation downside. But in time, that will change. And anything that is really significantly better than anything else, come the basing out period and come the moderate bull period and then the future big bull periods will overperform. Should I invest in bananas? That's a dietary question, so I'll leave that. He gives you riddles. Yeah, am I a riddler? Maybe I am. I thought I was being clear, but maybe I'm a riddler. Maybe just work out the riddles. Good. Next to crash is Tether. Possible. Suscoin is better investment, says Dylan. I wish ETH get back on co-vesting platform. Don't know it, the co-vesting platform. RT Kindmaster Sell this worthless, the Dentinic premium bonds, max holding. Whoops, they're moving so fast. I've got to try scroll back so I can finish reading them. Premium bonds, max holdings, safer risk than the high street bank accounts. So premium bonds, where they give you a kind of bonus and a system draw basis. It's government backed, supposedly, so it's probably the last to go. Pays a very crappy yield. Essentially, the prizes you win, they have a prize pot, and over time you'll get some small, but it's not going to. Well, for the deflation period, it might be a very safe place. But my view is governments themselves are even now risk. So what happened is banks were indebted last time and got bailed out. This time, it's going to be governments are too indebted. They will have a problem. And that's where the IMF and these supernatural transnational entities take place. It's as if, countries, the central bank is the last lender of last resort for banks. What ends up happening is when central banks in individual countries are literally busted and can't raise the amount of debt because they're too over indebted, you end up having a situation where those central banks then go to super central bank that's now been created, a new layer, a new top to the pyramid, the IMF. Meanwhile, all the IMF is underwritten by America, China, and all those same indebted countries with debt. So I call this the Francis Hunt turd portfolio theory. You see, this is what happened in subprime. You give out mortgages to people that are on social welfare checks, ninja loans where they can lie through their teeth and they don't have income, and you actually have a crap investment. And what happens is you give it to the Wall Street and they slice and dice it by region and ethnicity of the lender and all of this. And then they mark some of them marginally better than the others. And instead of saying it's marginally better, they say it's this part is better. And in fact, if we put them all together, we diversify all the risk away. Meanwhile, it's still a portfolio of turd. It's all shit. But some of it is stinky, stinky shit. And some of it is slightly less stinky shit. And if you combine it all in a box and you slice it and dice it, the turds, all of it, what actually you get, and you parcel it up really neatly in little cubes with nice wrapper. Actually, you have little wrappers, cubes of nothing more than turd, but it's nicely wrapped and it's called AAA because it's a portfolio now and the risk has been reduced, you see. This is called what I call the alchemy, the magic. It's magic of banking, financial alchemy. Now you can sell that investment as AAA debt because it's diversified and you've sliced the least stinkiest part of the turd out, and you've left the real, the real gangster who got a loan, who's never had a job and has part-time income as a waiter delivering pizzas and sells drugs on the side in the evening and has just been given a mortgage because everyone else has one and he doesn't want to be the last guy in the room without a house. And so you leave that guy out, but you've got all the other folk that are deadbeats nonetheless. And then by doing that, by making this, you make an investment income. You sell it to Swiss banks, German banks, and to your own investment banks. And you go to AIG and you insure against it defaulting. And then you short it because you know it's turd. You know it's a pile of turd. So then you short it to make money and you go it. Go watch The Big Short, the movie. This is the risk of being the sole big winner when there's a full collapse. They wouldn't give him a real price. Michael Burry. They wouldn't give him a legit price. The Goldman Sachs guys that he took the deal out, it wasn't a liquid item. It was a bespoke, customized short position on the worst turd portfolio of subprime. The stripper with the 5 rental properties, who was on part-time work and didn't even have a visa, and he shorted them, and that just had to drop 1%, and they would all be near worthless, the worst of the worst. And they refused to give him a price. They kept saying it's still par value. It hasn't changed. He says property prices have fallen 15%. How can you do that? Okay, I'll sell some more. No, we're not selling you anymore, but it's still par value. But you won't sell me more at par. I want to sell more. You're not going to give me the real value. So I want to add to my short positions. No, 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 we won't do that. You see, he was dealing with an investment bank, and they're sharks and they're crooks, and it was a custom product. It didn't trade on an exchange, and they could do whatever the hell they wanted. And then the movie ends with him. He's out of his office, and they leave a message on him. There's the same woman he was always speaking to. Hi, Mr. Burry. We can now confirm, once they'd got bailed out and they'd passed the risk on to AIG, and the government had guaranteed AIG that your portfolio was worth X and you've made an X profit, and he fills that on his board. How many thousands of percent he ended up making in the end in his position when he went all in on what he knew was a turd portfolio. And they created magic. They'd created gold out of sewage. And that's the game. So go watch that movie if you haven't. Go watch it tonight. Great live stream, says Johnny O. Yay, Digibyte. No hard view. I know, what's the guy who sits on his throne? Michael, crypto guy that's quite technically smart, had a debate with Roger Ver. Do you remember him, Bernard? We had a guy in our community, had his name as a nickname. He's out there in Puerto Rico way. He sits on his throne, is a bit eccentric. The guys here will tell me. He liked Digi. Richard Hart. Thanks, Adam. You're spot on, bud. That's the name. Richard Hart. Yes, Wades. Thank you. Yes, yes, yes. So the movie, Tim missed the movie, The Big Short. The Big Short. So it's a short position, and I'm telling you, these are shorting times, guys. So go do a practical. Consider it homework, and you'll enjoy it as well. And it's Christian Bale as the key hedge fund guy. He's the main guy. They try to make a hero out of another guy who just pissed me off, who was a whiny New Yorker. Steve Carell's part, yeah. But the real hero is Mike Burrell. Yeah, so go watch The Big Short. Margin Call is another one. Yes, thanks for that. Into the Fire. Watch that. Similar concepts. Richard Fathart says Sanctagoras. Indeed. Listens to metal. Yeah, nothing wrong with listening to metal. We do a bit of that. Yeah, yeah. Christian was great in the movie. I really liked it. It is is this a cryptocurrency depression? Says Big Smoke. So it was a hypervaluation in price, and this is now the underreaction to the extreme overreaction. So now you're getting the extreme underreaction to the extreme overreaction. So what that means is you've had a melt up high, and you're going to have to wash out to the extreme lows in the same way you went extreme high. How long the deflation period? So you're talking macroeconomically. This is not just about the cryptos, I'm assuming, Ed. That decides on our control structure. I think they're going to let a little bit of fear run for quite a while. It wouldn't even surprise me if we had some grid downs on the power. We could have some Wi-Fi network and mobile phone downs. And during that period, who knows? Russia hacked the banks, and you guys, your accounts have been halved. Real sorry about that. We should go to war and fix them. They did it to us. This was a cyber attack. You know, we're going to have to redo the financial system because there's no saving of the ledgers. Everything runs on computers nowadays. We're real sorry about this. We're going to get the Russians. Let's kill 300 million people. Who knows? Who knows? So it depends where we get taken. Is there world war involved in this? You know, you've had Paul Krugman, who seems to get quite a little stiffy between his legs every time the war is mentioned. He tells you how good it is for the economy. He's a real rodent and definitely an outrider for the control structure with some of his ideas. If you want to know how they think, listen to him. He writes for one of the Washington papers, I think, or the New York Times. I can't remember. He loves a bit of warfare. It stimulates the economy. You know, they love it. And, of course, Lockheed Martin loves it. We called long military. Lockheed Martin, BAE in the UK. Those things are 7 or 8 up since I called it. I was at the Master Investor in the UK. Said, you want to go long military industrial complex. I hate the idea. I hate the idea. I hate it. I hate them. I want them to die. I want to be wrong. I want them to fall apart. But I wasn't seeing it. The charts weren't showing it to me. You'd be 6 or 7 times up on Lockheed Martin, despite them turning out a plane like the F-35, which is actually an overly complex piece of shit that's master of none. Jack of all trades, master of none. But, you know, they can keep fucking up because they get government money thrown at them regardless, you know. And the military only goes up, you know. that's how it is. So Marlene Teff is telling us it's $3,900. Yeah, so you're getting a snapback rally after your sell-off. Okay, so how do you play for this? For me, it's a no panic situation. I have my target at 374, and it's a period of discomfort. Best thing, don't watch. If you're short, don't watch. Don't chase on volatility. If you chase the volatility lows on the shorts, that snapback rally warning I gave you, you could be about to have it in, and then you're going to watch big ass red numbers on your account, and you're going to be like this, and it's going to be flipping awful. That's why you shouldn't do that. You should have been short earlier on in the squeeze, and you had a number of them even after the initial breaks. So there's a bit of a snapback rally, but most of this sets up new continuations for new downside. So that snapback rally will create new geometry from its low one to its high one, that when we generate the next target will probably give us our 3744 and our the final $100 we need. So, we trade through full process. We stick to process generally, and that's the way it goes. Security tokens, polymaths, network, and this. The guys I worked with were into polymaths. Alphabet. They were an advisor on that one. Don't know too much about it. I'm not involved with them anymore. Switzerland ETF BTC good. Well, we've had good news, but the problem is it keeps going down, Joel. Or it's Joe Dell. Nicholas Ring, what would you invest in years to make as much profits as possible without taking too much risk? Well, it's the $1 million question, Nicholas, and I'm not an advisor, but deflation, I would be in cash during the deflation period, and I'll buy rock bottom cheap post-financially engineered unwounded assets like property once all the banks are going bust and the auction houses are there and they're giving them away to the hedge funds who are buying up all the property so that you can be tenants and pay them an 11-12% yield. I'll be bidding as well, and they've got to let a few stooges like me bid, otherwise it's a complete captive market and they'll be exposed. So property will be an investment again at some point, but you need to let it smash and burn first. And you need and don't buy at the first bid. Let it smash and burn for a while. Wait for the banks to be going under. Tezos. Let's see. This market is nothing if not manipulated. Buy 100,000 SUS for Masternode and trade it for 100 acres in 10 years' time, says Dylan. I can't comment on that. Do you invest in physical? I do. Is the answer. I can't wait for 1,300. Sell my soul to Lucifer. Yeah, no, some people have. Should I use my life savings in cryptocurrency or stocks? I shouldn't use your life savings in either. Be judicious. And once again, not an advisor. More bloodshed to come in crypto for me. So I wouldn't be doing anything on the long side. Everyone's still talking of buying. Short. Learn to short. Have some method and learn to short. Craig Wright. Yeah, interesting. Yeah. I think he's quite a cantankerous individual. I think he's obviously very smart. But I think his conduct. Let me just say, I saw an interview, and I can only comment on this. So I have really limited opinion, and I haven't interviewed him, I haven't spoken with him, and I haven't researched him. But I heard him doing a comment, and he got quite soiled. He started mentioning private school boys and cream crackers and an activity that I don't care to mention on here, and then go wolf it all down. And I was like, really? You need to go there? This is a guy that's written code that's supposed to be changing the world, and some people thought was Satoshi Nakamoto, and now he's talking about masturbating public school boys and funny, weird kind of gay games. And I was like, why would you have to say or use an analogy like that? It points to ego and trying to be, and he was outright offensive and quite adamant and belligerent. So I think there's a massive amount of ego that's in there. I just don't. You got to watch how you got to watch how you speak, and you should always conduct yourself that you could watch that same thing with your daughter sitting next to you and your mother, whether she be deceased or not, sitting on the other side, and still hold your head high on account of the manner that you hold yourself, integrity wise, And I use cheeky little metaphors all the time, to be mainly to entertain and to smile. But I don't think you have to go where you went anyway. So I just think that points to he's clearly very bright and talented, but I think there's an attitude problem possibly in there. And when you've got stuff off money people think I can say whatever I want, I can behave however I like, and actually they can become assholes. I'm not saying that necessarily he is, but have a code of conduct. Have a code of conduct for yourself. It doesn't matter how other people choose to unwind. Have your own code and try hold yourself to it. That doesn't mean you're perfect, but you can try. Dimitri, thank you. I appreciate it. I hope to, and I hope not to let you down in that fact. Mastermind, I feel trapped having a mortgage and having to work. What would you recommend someone like me to do? Paying off the house as soon as possible. Generally, I'm not a believer in owning debt, but you have an asset that saves you a rental check, first of all. Maximize your income streams. I've never felt comfortable just having a job and having salary. So I've always had commissions and bonuses and built my own business on the side. Just never trusted and never wanted to be employed fully. So I'm that kind of guy. I would say most of you are potentially that kind of people if you really value your freedom. And I speak of the 5 freedoms. And for those of you that registered for the course, the mini course, we've run a small bit behind because we've had some technical issues, but that's still coming. And I'll be talking about the 5 freedoms. If you haven't registered and you'd like to, it's a couple of YouTube clips ago. I'll post a comment once we wrap this. In the top comments, and I'll pin it. You can register it. I talk of the 5 freedoms, and it's my assessment that most people would value these freedoms. And I go into them in some detail. I'm not going to do it here. Register for the course, but it's freedom of time, freedom of money, freedom of association, freedom of all of these things. That means you can be where you are, dealing with the people you are, not necessarily being a boss and having subordinates, not having superiors telling you and chasing you around. And the ability to move, freedom of location, working from I'm in a lovely hotel. I mean, if I want a cappuccino, it's here. I can afford it. I've got the time for it. I'm talking about something I'm interested in. I'm hopefully contributing and feeling good for contributing and making a difference to people and giving me my best truth that I can. I'm lucky that way, and aspire to that. And a job for me never did that. I was never that into a company's product that I thought this is who I am and what I want on my gravestone, as to what I was. Yes, I worked for Cisco and I sold routers. No, I was Francis, and, I built a small business with passionate people about wealth building, helping other people build wealth. And we taught method, which was self-derived, that made a difference to people's balance sheets. And I affected marriages, kids, quality of education and life globally as a result of what I did, hopefully generally positively. And that I'd be happy with. So my someone sold a wedding ring for Bitcoin. How to change your life at 50? Is it 50? There's a 5. Francis, any advice? You are what you focus on, and you are what you practice. So be very careful about how you direct your mind, and choose wealth building. You've got to focus on it if you want to build wealth. Many people say they want wealth, or they only want the wealth because they want a Lambo, nice house, no debt, and to feel comfortable. You actually have to build wealth. You have to provide a service to people, in my opinion. And you're best able to build a service if you decide what you're most passionate about, what you've learned about, what you choose to read about in your free time when you're on your own, where you're most organized, where do you look to find inspiration, what topics do you willingly read about when you're not being asked to. That's where you will be passionate, and that's where you will have probably a higher level of bearing than other people. What angle will bringing that knowledge to others help make their life better? How can you do that? And then scale it. This, as much as I'm no fan of Ellison and Bill Gates, these guys serving me right now. I'm on a Surface laptop with Windows 10, and I probably need Java, some form of Java applets, etc., and PDFs in everything I do every day. Every day, even though I think he's a dark state operative, Bill Gates is serving me. So the same things that you resent also can love you. There's an incredible balance. YouTube, Google, and Android, I think, is a horrible oligopoly that should be broke up. As I sit here broadcasting you live for free on YouTube servers. This is the dichotomy of everything. So the great pain they bring, the great gift they also bring. So you have to see things in the fullness. In the same way with this bear market on Bitcoin, you do not have day without night. You do not have summer without a winter, and everything that you hate also serves you. And many of the things you aspire to, you only see the fantasy side of, and you don't see. You want to be married to a supermodel? How long do you want to wait every time you want to go out to dinner? How big a wardrobe are you going to have to build for this woman? Do you think she'll ever wash the dishes with those nails? Do you think you're going to be running around serving her, or she's going to be running around serving you? You only see fantasy on one side. You've got to see the fullness of every situation. What you actually want is someone of character and moral fiber that you can enjoy living with and sharing experiences and get used to serving as well. You must serve that person as much as you expect to be served. And that is my big growing up is getting out of my selfishness and recognizing that you have to serve to be served. And that's my message. So I hope that helps. Will I marry you? It looks like a Scandinavian name. Oh, I suspect you're gorgeous, but I might have to decline on this particular thing. Phil Kogan, amen. Yes, Phil. I mean, Phil's another guy. Phil's a member of my community. He came over here and he's helping me document flow charts because I'm crap at lots of things, so that we can better help others learn. Sure, I give him rank in my community, and sure, people who earn rank and are contributing pay less for being part of it. Simple as that. And he's giving service, and he gets a saving, and he's a friend, and he's welcome at my home anytime he wants to come over, including with his wife, and that's it. So people get what they want, and out of life and what you put in. So you got to serve somebody. Did Bob Dylan say that? That's nice, Johnny. I like it. Well done. Credit to him. Yeah, credit to him. Good. Gents and ladies, thank you for your attendance. I'll take if you've got any last minute cues or anything you want to throw by me. What's the BTC count at the moment? We'll give you a quick wrap of the news. You can see it for yourself. But so Bitfinex, we're on 3951. So we made the threes. That was our prediction. We're actually looking for 3744, though. That's not been made. We're looking for another $100 there. What's the coin? The coin market cap we were looking at, that's slightly different. Oh, that's overall, yeah, 3892 of all exchanges. So we look at the coin market cap for Bitcoin because it was a little bit... Am I afraid to talk back? No, I don't like backed. I don't like the principle of somebody else holding your assets and issuing paper against it. That's the blacksmith with your gold. Oh, we'll be an approved. We work in investment bank. We're this. Who was it again that was behind backed? It went all the way back to one of the big investment banks, ICE Exchange, and behind that. These are all the guys that are in the traditional markets place, and they'll rehypothecate, and that will be a case of they can lend out Bitcoin for other people to short it, and this is what gold does, and they'll lend it, and then they can lend out more than they actually have if they really want to control and manipulate the price, because no one's going to ask for it because they've got 10,000 or 100,000 Bitcoins that have all been pledged to be lent. They could lend out 250,000. Nobody knows because the people who's given them 100,000 are seeing it as held safe for long term. They're not going to all show up on the same day and ask for it back, and it just leads to markets being manipulated. You see, we live in a fake capitalistic market. Markets are genuine events which allow for real price discovery, providing everything trades through the one exchange, and every action of me buying from you, you buying from me, or anyone else occurs through that exchange. You don't have OTC. You don't have under-the-counter deals done for big players, dirty deals done dirt cheap. You don't have supposed service providers doing you a favor for a low value price. We'll hold your Bitcoin safe. We'll underwrite it, guarantee. We'll do this, that then can lend out and earn money off your assets by giving it to shorters. To short, you borrow script from somebody else, somebody that's given it to somebody else to hold for them. So you get very opaque ability to understand who's doing what and where that supply has come from. So that's it. Pharaoh Evans, I am not a billionaire. McAfee. Someone said McAfee. Never ending bear, Dylan. Thanks, take care. Can members still get into Basecamp, please? Igor, no. We shut Basecamp. But if there's any resources you want in there, this is one of my guys. Just let me know. I'll make sure it's in the sniper circle. If there's anything you remember, we folded that because we've got the new platform. I'm turning 30 soon. What advice would you give a 30-year-old? You've got plenty time and years. Get compound interest on your side. Never be put on the wrong side of a compound interest equation where the bank extractors, the debt lenders put you in a consumption cycle where you place yourself in debt. Postpone all consumption unto the absolutely necessary. Get love and light out of doing joyful things that can be done for free. Put yourself on the right side of compound interest. Buy the dips long run and even in equities, if they're going to fall, I believe. So don't put any lump sums in, but you can start a monthly and stick to it and increase it by 5 or 10% a year and allow it to compound and accumulate. You'll be buying a crashing market now. It doesn't matter. You're going to keep buying cheaper units in the lows. That takes the pressure off your timing to be right, and you continue to accumulate and accumulate. Even if you'd bought in 2009 a lump sum, you would be on some of the indices 2 or 3 times up already, although they're going to go down as well. Start your saving processes early in life. Take your money seriously, write a plan, write a constitution for your wealth about who you are and what you won't touch. Never then sell out that saving plan for a car or any other depreciating asset. I'd probably say a deposit for a property is okay, but avoid the excessive loan to values. Rather wait for the blood in the street and be at most 50%. If you can put 50% down, that's great. If you feel I really want so much more house, it's okay to go 25 or 30% down, but I would avoid 10%, 5% deposits, because if you don't time the cycle right, then you'll be shaken out and you'll be bankrupted potentially, or credit broken, and then you'll have all your savings cleared out, and then you'll be 45 and starting again. And you don't want to be in that situation, because time is one of the biggest components for compounding. That's the keys for building wealth. Start early, stick to the process 100% of the way. Add to it incrementally each year. That puts you under small psychological pressure to up your earnings. Build a secret extra bootstrapping project outside of your salary in case your increases aren't great during recessional times. That sees you develop other interests around which you're passionate. If you're a musician, if you're whatever, do those things and you'll do just fine, because you'll be ahead of 95% of the rest of the world. Next webinar is, thank you for asking, is the 5th of December month. The 5th of December month. You could go high crash. The Den Clinic is asking, do you suggest 80% cash, 10% metals and cryptos? I don't think that's a bad one. It's very overweight and very biased. So it's one of your hot steps onto a hot stone that you should bounce out of, because cash, remember, when they come and double the amount of money in circulation and start pumping all the assets again back up, that cash has been halved. When you proliferate twice as many notes as a government into the money, that cash gets halved. So you have to, in between the problem and then everybody's reaction in the deflationary environment, as that's happening, You need to get out of cash at the lows when everyone's the most depressed, and it's the hardest trade to put on. The most uncomfortable investments are the often your best. So don't judge your investments by emotion. You should be doing something that everyone else thinks you're mad. That's usually a great investment. Yeah, and so the inflation, the reinflation, will then see those assets go up, which will see stocks go up, as Saint Gaulis is pointing out, property and everything else. Brussels tomorrow, and then something on Sunday, says Expansive Minds. 3K BTC soon. Yeah, I've spoken on my targets. If you're a new joiner, 3744 on Bitfinex. I haven't done it for the other exchanges, so I don't want to mislead you, which means we're still $100 away, and we're having a little bit of a snapback rally. But we will stay short, and we'll hold and stick to process. Excellent. Pharaoh Evans, my pleasure. Gents, I'm going to let you go. The numbers are winding down. Thank you for all the likes and the sharing. And if you like the channel and you think you picked up something of value and you want to share it, we appreciate that. But if you don't, or you don't have the time, that's also okay. We all understand. With a salute, I say have an amazing evening. Play cool and watch the short side. Let's see if our 3744 comes in. By the way, remember, it's not a bottom, it's a target. That means A, we can get overperformance. We're expecting some overperformance on this. B, it might set up again for further lows. So it's not a bottom call, it's a target call. We've had lots of targets geometrically set up that continue to happen. So ours is a continuation game, and we get steps. It's like a staircase. We may just be getting that vertical south down of one step, and then you get a period of sideways, and then you can step again. So it's a continuation method that we trade. Okay, have an amazing evening. Thanks very much. Thanks to Big Burn. Wave goodbye, Big Burn. Yay. We're hoping that our internet and our power only just came back up. We're hoping that'll all we'll be saying hi to you, not from the hotel. All the best and have a great evening. And yeah, look after yourself, trade small, think it through, sleep on your ideas, logically write it down, work through it. Be safe. Bye-bye, guys.